Hey, welcome back, folks. Today I want to talk about how not to get scammed when you're buying a horse, I guess. I wasn't planning on doing this video, but due to some circumstances, it came up. Uh, well, a number of people have been talking about how much the price of horses have gone up lately, and we can only theorize it had to do with COVID, that, people spending more time at home found that they had more time to spend with horses, and so they were more inclined to buy horses. Well, fact is, regardless whatever the reason was, the prices of horses have jumped by about 3 times. It tripled in prices, and I was just stunned by the prices that people were paying for horses. And I thought, I want to check this out myself a little bit here. So we went and did a little bit of Google machine work and went to our favorite site that we went to check some of the ads to see the prices, and yep, prices have gone through the roof. Now, by the way, the site I go to is called Kijiji. It's in Canada, and I'm not advertising for them or anything. I'm just kind of giving you a little backstory here. What we're doing is, it's actually, where you live, you probably don't have it. As far as I know, I think it's exclusive to Canada, but it's owned by eBay. So it's not like it's a little bitty company. It's owned by eBay, and it's an awful lot. If you're American, you're more familiar with your Craigslist. It's kind of like that. That's where everybody goes to buy and sell stuff. So we got Kijiji, you got Craigslist. Actually, we have a Craigslist. We actually have Craigslist up here too. Nobody uses it for some reason, and it's been a while since I've even checked. Maybe it doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know. But anyhow. As I was zipping through the ads, I came across something that caught my eye that I thought, you know what, I think I better talk about this, because I come across an ad that had so many red flags in it that I just got to talk about it. So bear with me here, and I'll take a closer look. I'll bring the ad up and we'll talk about what we see. Okay, to start with, I'll show you the first thing that I found that, well, my first red flag is, as I was scrolling through the ads, this particular browser, the way it works is, if I visited an ad previously, it brings it up in a different color, so I know it's the same ad I've seen before. Now you'll notice that this one and this one, the titles are in different colors. Unless, of course, you're colorblind, you won't notice that. But that one there is in more of a purple, that's in more of a blue, and that tells me I've been there before. But I have not been on this particular site for the better part of 2 years. Well, since I bought my last horse. That was the last time. So the fact that that ad come up as one I have seen before really had me puzzled, especially with the date on it. Because I'm sure when I was just looking at this ad yesterday, there's another date once I open up the ad that will tell me that that ad was posted 12 days ago, and I know for a fact I have definitely not been on here in 12 days. The ads on here will automatically be deleted after, I can't remember what it is, 3 months, something like that. But you do have the option of renewing them. You can keep renewing them, and the ad will continue to run. I suspect that might be what they've been doing, is they've been constantly renewing this ad so it stays on, because, like I said, I haven't been on for 2 years, and right there, that color says I've been to that ad before. And the last time I was on here was about 2 years ago. So right there, huge red flag, something suspicious. The fact that an ad has existed for 2 years in itself is pretty suspicious too, because then you start thinking, well, what's wrong with that horse that it's been for sale for 2 years? You know, I suspect there's something funny going on there. Is it lame? Has it got a bad temperament? What's going on? Well, I kind of figure more than likely it's a scam. So I'm going to walk you through this one and we'll talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this ad here, and I mean, it is possible that there are explanations for all of the anomalies that I have found in this ad. It is possible. So just to be on the safe side, I've covered up phone numbers, names in this ad so that we are not pointing the finger at anybody, because maybe, just maybe, this ad actually is 100% legit, and because I haven't had the time to follow it up and determine for fact whether or not it's a legit ad. So it's possible it is, but I kind of doubt it. And I'll tell you why. Well, like I said, the first one is that purple color on the title. That tells me that this ad's been around for over 2 years, which doesn't line up with, there's a date on it, it's up above, I'm not scrolling up to it. There's a date that says this thing was posted 12 days ago. So that tells me, okay, they've been renewing it. Why has it been around for so long? Like I said, what's wrong with this horse that this ad's been around this long? Or is there something else going on? Well, if you read the whole story that they've got in the ad here, it leads to more questions than answers. It says, please read the ad carefully. Only call the number listed in the ad. Well, because I don't know for fact that it's a scam, I've covered up the phone number and the poster's name, which, by the way, they're different. The person you call and the person that posted this ad are different. That's another red flag right there. The ad was posted for somebody else. Now, that's not entirely unusual in itself. It happens quite a bit when somebody else either doesn't have the techno smarts to be able to post an ad, or they don't have internet, or whatever. Quite often people will post for other people. That's not incredibly on its own, that's not a big deal, but when you combine it with everything else, it just makes you really wonder what the heck's really going on here. Okay, only call the number listed in the ad. Do not respond by email. Beautiful light gray white Arab gelding, about 15 hands high at approximately 14 years old. Well, okay, with a description like that, because of the age, it's not going to be incredibly appealing, but still, because of the current prices of horses, the price on this ad is not in line with that. This is actually a really good deal, or if it's real, it would be a very good deal, because they're only asking $1,500, and you got to spend close to $2,000 for a completely untrained horse. This one, supposedly reliable, or has supposedly been ridden, which is the next line. It says, supposed to be broke to ride, but hasn't been ridden in about at least 3 or 4 years. Now, this combined with some information further on here makes me scratch my head again, because he has been kept at a boarder's place. Okay, that's another one too, because why would the boarder keep a horse at their own place if they are boarding? Unless it's the kind of boarder where they, room and board where they live, in which case the horse would be where they live, which is there. Wouldn't it? I don't know. Sounds kind of funny to me anyhow. Okay, the boarder is older and has no time for him. Well, if the boarder has no time for him, why'd they get him in the first place? And if this particular individual got this horse from the owner, would they have not gotten it with the intention of riding it, in which case they would know whether or not it was rideable? Again, another red flag. Just this whole thing, like I said, it's supposed to be broke to be ride, but hasn't been ridden in about 3-4 years. Has this woman had this horse for all this time without ever riding it, or knowing whether or not it's rideable? That just sounds really funny. The boarder is older and has no time for him. The owner doesn't want him. Well, how do you know that? Because the next part of that same sentence is, and has had no contact with the boarder for years. Well, if they haven't had any contact, how do they know they don't want the horse? And why don't they have contact with the person? That doesn't make sense. I mean, you got a horse from them, obviously you know this person. You got the number, you know where they live, you can check up on them, you can drive over there, you can phone them. I mean, none of this makes sense again. And like I said, the name of the person you're supposed to phone is not the same as the name of the person that posted the ad. And, oh, and here's the icing on the cake right here. Right at the end, you'll see the last line is, note, pictures are for reference only, not the actual horse. Really? They talk about how good this horse looks and everything else, but they've never taken a picture of it. Now, I know there are actually a few people out there that don't even have a cell phone, and a few that have the real old school kind that don't take pictures, but not too many. And if they've got, even if they don't actually have one themselves, I'm sure there was somebody around that could have taken pictures and emailed them to them or something, because they obviously have internet if they posted this ad. So there was a way of them to get actual pictures of the horse. So the fact that they do not have pictures of the actual horse, again, more red flags. I'm really suspicious. So what's going on here? They don't know whether or not it's rideable, even though they've had it for years. They're selling it for somebody else that doesn't even actually own the horse. Which, by the way, that brings me to another point. I don't know what the laws are like where you live. Quite possibly different than here, because different country, or even in the U.S. from one state to another, the laws could vary. But around here, this is an illegal transaction that they're trying to do. Somebody is selling a horse they do not own. That's what's happening right here. And to make matters worse, somebody else is posting the ad for somebody else that's selling a horse that they don't even own. That is entirely illegal unless they have authorization from the owner of the horse to act as their agent and sell on their behalf. Well, that's not possible, because it says right in the ad they haven't had contact with the owner for years, so obviously that hasn't happened. Now, my understanding of the law around here, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that the only legal way that somebody can sell that horse, if they don't own it, is if, for example, it was at a boarding facility, the boarder did not pay the board and became delinquent on board, the owner of the facility put a lien on the horse, and then, and only then, can they sell the horse, and only at public auction, which unfortunately at auction 75% of horses end up as meat, so we wouldn't really want that happening anyhow. But my understanding is that that's how it works. It would have to be, the boarder would have to be delinquent in their board. The barn owner or the owner of the facility would have to file a lien against the horse, and then the horse would have to be sold at public auction. To my knowledge, that's the only legal way of doing it, at least around here. It might vary where you own, but I mean, the fact that somebody is selling somebody else's horse, well, it's kind of like if I borrowed your car, hadn't heard from you in a while, and decided, well, I guess I don't want the car back, I'm going to sell it. And again, if this ad has in fact been up for 2 years, the amount it would cost to keep that horse for that length of time is going to far exceed what they're trying to sell it for. So that doesn't make sense either. If they just simply wanted to get rid of the horse, they wouldn't be holding out for 2 years trying to get their price. And actually the price that they're asking is pretty reasonable now, because I suspect this is the same price. I don't remember what the price was the last time I looked at the ad. I'm going to guess it might have been pretty close to around there, because that would have been the price range I would have been looking at. And compared to what horses are going for nowadays, that would be pretty reasonable. So, and well, by today's standards, actually that'd be ridiculously reasonable, and there's no reason that that horse would still be for sale right now. It would be gone, because going through the ads, there was lots and lots of them where the horses had already been sold for far greater amounts of money, and they weren't. I mean, this one, they claim it's an Arabian, might be, but there's no papers, nothing. So you're buying a grade horse. These aren't even the pictures. You don't know what you're getting into. So, well, let me just explain here. So I thought I would just run through that with you because there was just enough anomalies in that ad that I just thought, man, I got to show you some of this stuff because these are the kind of things that you can look for when you're horse hunting. And I mean, modern technology, Kijiji, much like a lot of other organizations, they do have certain safety mechanisms in place. If you get scammed by somebody, you can report them, and in order to post or even answer an ad, you have to be logged in, and if they get reported, they won't even be allowed to log in anymore. That prevents further action, but try and get your money back from them. No, you might not be able to, so pretty good chance that if you do get scammed, you're never going to get your money back. Even if you go to the cops or whatever, your money's long gone by the time the person goes to jail or court or whatever. So the best solution is don't get scammed in the first place. Prevent, and if you can prove that the ad is not 100% legit, you can always report it, and they can actually block that person from posting any further ads that are scams or something like that. But be aware of inconsistencies, things that just don't make sense. I mean, it's like the old saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And the same goes with ads. And although this was horses we were looking at, that could have been just about anything. Could have been a car or a refrigerator, or who knows. It's a general thing that you're not limited to just one particular item or one species of animal. Cons like this go on all over the place, and you need to be aware of this stuff. I don't like seeing people getting ripped off. I was rather naive when I first got involved with horses, and I thought, man, people that got animals got to be good people. Nope. And I mentioned this before, and I did a couple of videos on buying a horse, and I mentioned that there's a lot of unsavory people out there, unfortunately, because like I said, I started off thinking, people that have animals got to be good people, right? There's and there's something about the horse world, I don't know, it seems to attract an awful lot of very, how shall we say, interesting people. We'll be polite, okay? We like to keep our videos PG. So there you go. Look for inconsistencies. If you're buying anything, not just horses, talk to the owner. Don't, second, third hand, I posted the ad for somebody else that doesn't even own the horse that's selling it. I mean, that's just way too fishy for my liking. I'll tell you, I wouldn't, right now with the prices of horses, they want $1,500 for that thing. And the prices of horses being what they are, that's actually pretty reasonable. And it's very tempting. But I don't think I'm going to waste my time even phoning them, because I am pretty sure that there's something not right. Like I said, that ad, to best of my knowledge, has been there for 2 years. It tells you right away there's something funny going on. Nobody has a horse advertised for 2 years. I've never seen an ad last 2 years. So there's definitely something funny going on there. And if they really wanted to get rid of the horse all that bad, they would have probably lowered their price until it went away, or something like that. But just so many inconsistencies. The pictures weren't even of the horse, things like that. So, be wary. Be cautious when you see ads. And it doesn't matter that you don't have Kijiji in your country. The same principles apply no matter what you're using, whether it's eBay, Craigslist, or any other form of advertising on the internet. It's kind of replaced, I can remember years ago when everybody advertised everything in the newspaper. Now you're lucky if you can find a newspaper, and if you do, there's no ads in it anymore. It's all online now. So, but unfortunately, well, actually some of the scams existed even before the internet, but seems to be getting a little more prevalent all the time. So use caution, be careful when you're checking out ads, when you're buying a horse, or pretty much anything. If you see red flags, you're probably not imagining things. You see two, better be real careful. You start seeing 3 or 4 or 5, run. You know, like I said, I didn't even waste my time phoning. Be careful out there. Have a good day.